So thank you everyone for joining us. Good morning, good evening to all of you all from whichever part of world you guys are in. Today we have with us highly experienced professional with close to 3 decades of experience in the space of sustainability, energy transition, and climate change. He has extensively worked in decarbonization, climate resilience, climate risk mitigation, strategic transformation. And he has actually worked in 200 plus climate and resource efficiency initiatives across 15 plus countries. He is widely recognized for sustainable transformation in multinationals, especially who cross across boundaries and has focused on cross-cultural teams, working with global brands and building up multiple stakeholder relationships. Let us all welcome Mr. Archak Pattanaik. He's a team head, environmental sustainability at PUMA Group. Welcome.
Thank you, Harsa, for the introduction, as well as giving this opportunity. And hello, everyone. Thanks for taking out time. I know it's late in India and early morning in US, and wherever you are joining, thanks for logging in into this conversation. Looking forward to have a great interaction today.
Thank you, sir. Sir, firstly, we are very inspired with your journey, and we would like to know how did you reach where you reached, and
Okay.
what are the learnings for any sustainability professional to reach at that stage of career?
Okay, a great question to start with. I have been always passionate about environment, and long back I started this career as a environment professional. At that time, the sustainability word was not there. We talk about mostly talk about environmental compliance, wastewater treatment, waste management, those areas, and slowly the carbon market opened up. So we worked in the carbon markets, and of course, when the sustainability finally become a buzzword, I started working in this sector as a consultant first, and then joined Puma as a sustainability professional focusing on the climate topic. So today, mostly, I will speak uh, as a in a personal capacity, not
Yeah,
exactly representing Puma,
yeah.
but as a sustainability professional from the apparel and footwear sector.
Sure, sure.
So that should be very clear
So
today
when
for today's
when
discussion.
sustainability was not a buzzword, since you are in this
Mhm.
space since three
Mhm.
decades, and
Yeah.
as a consultant, when you used to go and pitch, what was the response?
Yeah, people are curious. Initially, of course, when we talk to factories, when we talk to brands, it was like a difficult topic to digest. Uh, but slowly, when they understand more the benefit aspect of sustainability, how they can save resource, that's what we worked as a resource efficiency consultant when I was working with Kinetics. So they more look into how we can save resources and how we can make more profits. So that's how the acceptability of sustainability increased more when we talk about energy efficiency, water efficiency, and how we can save chemicals, and how we can become more resilient for future. That's how the acceptability increased. But initially, it is really tough to talk about sustainability to people when sustainability was not a buzzword.
Great. Now, there is a lot of talk about decarbonization, and
Mhm.
especially in India, we have
Mhm.
a lot of regulations which are coming vis-a-vis in many other parts of the world where it is not.
Mhm.
What do you think? Are they truly decarbonizing, or they are simply optimizing disclosures? And where do you see the real gap between the narrative and impact which is going
Right.
on?
Yeah, a good question to reflect on. If you see. The reporting has improved a lot in previous, say, 5 to 6 years, and more recently with CSRD guideline for the global brands. So people are really become smart with reporting, but when it comes to say CSRD reporting, it is very, very objective. You can't play with words, you can't play with figures. It talks about scenario analysis, risk and opportunities, transition plans, very, very concrete requirements. It was initially very difficult for us to understand and interpret the requirements. But as we understand more and so more clarity came, and then we are able to publish our CSRD report for last 2 years. Great experience, definitely. It leaves very less scope for making different claims which people make generally in a GRI guideline. At the same time, I can say the decarbonization is happening on ground, at least by the large companies or large brands. I can give some few examples to start with. I can give example from PUMA since I am involved with those. Like the PUMA suppliers have achieved 33% of energy from renewable sources. That's really a big achievement when we compare to 2020. We are hardly there, almost zero energy from renewable sources, and this is more than the exceeding the target of 25% by 2025. If you see H&M as a brand, they focus a lot on financing the suppliers. So that is what required, providing actual financing support for decarbonization. If you say take example of Adidas, they focused more on the coal phase out. So by 2025, almost all the targeted suppliers they have transitioned out from coal to low carbon fuels such as biomass and natural gas. So there are good examples. Even if you say H&M example again, they tied up with IFC to set up first ever private solar plant there, and signed a CPPA as a special. Uh, there is no CPPA policy there or DPPA policy there, but they took a special approval as a pilot from the government and established this.
Would you share
So
what CPPA and DPPA is?
yeah, I think many people don't know. That's good thing. So it is nothing but those are India. We call it open access. You can buy renewable energy directly from a private player, which is not located in the same city, or it would be different location, but has to be within the same country. So these policies are not very matured in other countries like say Bangladesh, Indonesia, Cambodia. These countries, these are the sourcing countries for the apparel and footwear sector. Uh, and if you see example of Vietnam and China, the policy exists, but it's too complex to implement it.
So they have to
So
buy it from the state.
sorry, come
Not
again.
they have to buy it from the state and not from the private sector.
Yeah, that is the policy. So even if they buy it as a grid power, you cannot claim it as a renewable power. But if you are buying from a specific renewable power plant, you sign a contract directly with the IPP, the independent power producer, and then that power is considered as a renewable energy, and you can claim decarbonization on that. That is the difference. But when you're buying from the grid, it is a national grid emission factor will apply. So it
Yeah.
is still is your non-renewable energy.
True, true, true. These are some very great examples that you shared with us. Now, when
Mm.
specifically for the group, now if we look at the whole industry,
Mhm.
the manufacturing industry of apparel and footwear, uh, we have we have to reach net zero goals. India has its own,
Right.
Canada has its own, every country has set up, and every company has set up.
Right.
So how are they approaching towards it, and what are the gaps that they face, and any solutions that you see that we can overcome? Of course, you mentioned about renewable energy,
Mhm.
but still there are gaps out there, because circularity becomes a question when you use renewable energy, because solar grids or the windmill fans, then renewing them and reusing them is another green economy sector. So how do you
Right,
really overcome and ensure that we can become net zero?
right. Let me a little bit explain the dynamics of the sector, how this sector is working and how it's different from the heavy industry or heavy manufacturing sector. So the first of all, the manufacturing doesn't happen by the brands itself. So almost 100% production is outsourced to suppliers. And these suppliers are not dedicated suppliers or exclusive suppliers of brands. They're shared suppliers.
Hmm.
So first of all, we understand that more than 90% of emissions are coming from the supply chain side. It's not with brand's own operation. So it becomes more challenging, which is not under our direct control. Hmm. So just to give a idea about the scale of operation and scale of emissions, uh, the apparel and footwear sectors uh, revenue or the sales turnover is around 2.3 to 2.4 billion USD per year. And the emissions are up to 4 billion ton carbon dioxide. So that is 8% of global GHG emissions. That means it is basically equivalent to total European Union's GHG emission, just to give an idea. So it's huge. The supply chain is very complex, and the challenges are different for different tiers. So if I can explain a bit on tier level, it will be more clear to our audience.
Okay.
So if you say tier one suppliers, those are basically making finished products for the brands. So they are basically cut to pack operations. And it is much easier to achieve decarbonization there. Like they are directly, we have contractual relationship with them, and the electricity driven GHG emission is easier to decarbonize. That means like though still there are challenges I mentioned, the policy roadblocks are still there, but it is, I can see in near future it is possible to decarbonize the tier one much easier than other tiers. When it comes to tier two, uh, again you have less business leverage, no direct contractual relationship. At the same time, the energy is more of thermal energy, which is more difficult to decarbonize. Because suppose you are using coal, if you are moving to other fuels like natural gas, yes, the emissions will reduce, but it will not net zero, right?
Yes.
So natural gas is still a fossil fuel. And if you're going for biomass, again, there are a lot of issues with biomass. There are seasonal fluctuations in the. It's a seasonal product. It's not produced throughout the year. And you can see the price fluctuation is there. There are air pollution issues, and there are a lot of concern about uses of biomass in the industry. So the solution is here the upcoming low carbon thermal energy technologies such as heat pump, solar thermal, green hydrogen. And among these three, heat pump looks more promising. And the brands have started working on heat pump technology. So like we have done some feasibility studies in Vietnam in collaboration with WWF. And Apparel Impact Institute has started a pilot program basically to identify opportunities and also finance those projects which are selected under this program. Again, this heat pump is cost intensive, but it can convert your low heat to higher volume of heat as well as steam, and there is a great opportunity there. Coming to tier three, it is more interesting. Uh, Absolutely no visibility of the data, no primary data available. So brands mostly focus on secondary emission factors uh, to calculate that. And again, if you don't have the primary data, it is very difficult to engage them on decarbonization efforts. So tier three is another aspects. Tier four, the hardest part. So like the materials, we use what is the raw materials for the sector? Cotton, say leather, PU, polyester. How you make these materials net zero? So these materials, yes, you can go for bio-based material, you can go for recycled materials, but still they have emissions. Even if the cotton products, you cannot go for 100% recycled cotton because of the nature of quality requirement of the products. Maximum you can use 25 to 30% cotton in that product. So this is more challenging as per me uh, because if you say net zero under science-based targets, it allows only 10% offset. So 90% has to be achieved by the actual reductions. And this material part looks very challenging until unless you go for complete regenerative system for it.
So, just out of curiosity, are there any projects that y'all are running in Bangalore or any other location that you see that people can visit and see it from their eyes? Okay, this is how y'all are doing it. Are there any such projects out there?
There are of course, renewable energy projects are there, but regenerative things are quite new. There are programs under Better Cotton and also through a project called Unlock, and they have program in US and India as well. So US, India, the farmers are involved in producing regenerative cotton, and this provides a big decarbonization opportunity for the brands as well as farmers to implement good technology, and their livelihood also improves.
Lovely. Excellent. Excellent. Now, see, everyone wants to address climate change, every human and every company and every country.
Yeah,
But there have been situations where there have been cost versus benefits, and there have
right.
been points where there have been systems failures. So, do you think these small incremental changes that we are taking, would we
Mhm.
be able to achieve our goals?
Yeah, if you see, the climate change is already a big problem, right? We are already facing the extreme climatic conditions, and they are going to increase more. Hmm. So, if you say at higher level, even if we are making incremental mitigation actions, there these situations or these extreme events, climatic events, they are going to happen. They are going to disrupt our supply chain. They are going to create problems for everyone around. But
Yeah.
these incremental actions are not completely irrelevant. So if you see whatever big actions we are seeing today, they have started as a small actions. For example, you can say the renewable energy. So some factories 5 years back they started rooftop solar, and now the offtake of rooftop solar and renewable energy is very high. So earlier it was difficult to convince them, but now they understand. Yes, this works, and it is also make business sense. Like if you say open access, so the power you get through open access is cheaper than the grid.
Yeah.
So then it makes sense. So those kind of business integration is required to make bigger change.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, environmental accountability, since you've led consulting firm, you've also led global supply chains. What is your experience on environmental accountability in globally diffuse supply chain? I would also like to add, how is AI really helping?
Yeah, interesting question. Yeah. So when we say environmental accountability across diffuse supply chain, so diffuse supply chain means we have like tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four, like they are spreading across different countries. Like tier one maybe in India, tier two is in China, tier three is in Vietnam, tier four is in US, say cotton. So this could be very complex. So how the companies are managing this? The most important is basically the data transparency. So when it comes to data collection, we are using software solution. Of course, we are not yet using AI, but we are using software solution. So the suppliers are connected to a system, and we get all the data from suppliers directly, and this data is also validated by our team. And this year we have automated everything into our system, like the data energy data comes validated, we directly get our scope 1 scope 2 scope 3 emissions on the system. We don't have to do any manual work. But the going forward, yes, AI has to play a role in validating the data, taking reading the data directly from the bills. So this is the way to look forward, and solutions are already evolving in this.
So if any entrepreneur, since I'm coming from Silicon Valley and talking from our perspective, if any entrepreneur wants to build a vertical AI integration
Mhm.
for the supply chain, global supply chain, what kind of vertical AI integration are you all looking for?
Yeah, AI integration in terms of course, as I mentioned, the data auditing part. We spent a lot of time in validating the data supplied provided by the suppliers.
Okay.
So that time can be saved if AI can validate those supporting documents, draw the data from the supporting documents. Maybe it's a invoice, maybe it's a logbook, and that data can come into directly into our
Systems.
GG calculation tool. So
Okay.
this will help a lot. And of course, we are using AI for our day-to-day operations, looking at our reporting, looking at finding the uh, uh, hotspots in the system. So that is much easier. Preparing the summary things, preparing the dashboards through Power BI. So that is we are already using. But of course, like Silicon Valley can look into this aspect of how we can reduce the uh, validation manpower cost from the brand side.
Great, great. I have this last question because I also want to open it to the our audience. Now,
Mhm.
how do we shift environmental sustainability from being compliance to a strategic driver and ensuring that there is regenerative business model look like in the apparel and footwear sector?
Both are you have merged like two things, but both are very important, thought-provoking questions. So if you see integration, yeah, business integration, that is the topmost priority. Like sustainability is not the work of sustainability department. They're just coordinators. The people like uh, us, we are driving the things. We are not actually the main people who are implementing the things. And this is how it should be.
Hmm.
Like like the brands, like for I can take example of Puma. We have integrated it at the top, like the sourcing and sustainability, they're together, they're part of one department. The sourcing head is responsible for the sustainability as well. And there is like uh, board level supervision. Like there are sustainability committee, there are quarterly review by the top management. Until unless it is driven by top, it will not be implemented.
Yeah.
The second thing I would like to highlight, sustainability should be a decision-making tool, uh, like selection of materials, designing of products, and also like what are the consumer expectations, and also consumer education. So when it comes to sustainable materials and products, it has to be part of this. It is not just marketing, but actually educating the consumers so that they can make an informed decision which products to buy, which products has lesser carbon footprint, which product is more circular.
Yeah,
So this is about the business integration. The second part you would call the regenerative
yeah,
business, like how it could be. To me, like a regenerative business model is like a ideal thing to happen, but it will take some time. It may be extremely difficult, but the shift is happening. So as I said, uh, regenerative materials. That is the one aspect. We look at the regenerative cotton, regenerative rubber, regenerative leather, and the companies are already working on it. I will give a good example of Kering. Kering is a luxury fashion branch, and so they have identified and allocated 1.1 million hectares for regenerative farming.
okay.
Um, so this is one example. And if you actually combine it with circularity, so then textile to textile recycling is a good example. So when it comes to polyester, mostly people use the used PET bottle as a raw material for polyester recycling.
Okay.
But the lot of work is happened on textile to textile recycling. Uh, there has to be work on the reverse logistics, and there has to be like collaboration between brands, how we can share those recycling facilities. So some work is done by Global Fashion Agenda and GIZ in Vietnam and India. They're taken the pilot projects to actually establish those recycling units, which come back again to the industry for recycled products.
Great. Thank you so much. We have a question from Mr. Kalpesh Patil and Mithun Raj. Would you like to switch on your cameras and ask? Also, Prabhakishore, would you like to switch on your cameras and ask, or do you want me to ask?
Uh, yeah, I can ask. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So, sir, thank you for such a insightful information that you shared with us. I just have a question. So, as there are like plethora of sustainability frameworks that have been present in world nowadays, so which are the sustainability frameworks that you use currently in the India operations? And also, if you can throw some light on the frameworks that are being currently in demand or in used worldwide.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you more of the global. Basically, India is part of the global operation. It is basically similar things. So when you say sustainability framework, there are different aspects. Like when you say reporting framework, so it is mostly driven by the European Union CSRD reporting framework. And it also includes science-based targets for climate target setting, which is very, very ambitious. Getting through the, you cannot have a less target. You say, I want to set a 10% reduction target. It is not possible. It has to be ambitious enough to get your targets approved through science-based targets. Another reporting framework is CDP. CDP is a very, very rigorous tool to look at your risks, environmental risk, climate risk, and how you present that to the public. And like PUMA is having getting A rating, the topmost rating for last 3 years in climate. If you see other frameworks like your data framework, like how you collect your data, that is the, I think, major part of a sustainability professionals like me, how to get credible and reliable data. So there we use Spera's SCCS system to get those data from suppliers, from our own operations, and calculate it the GHG emissions automatically, as I said earlier. And there have been frameworks for traceability as well. So we look at the materials, from which country it is coming, from which region it is coming. So there is another platform called Trace to collect those material data from suppliers as well as from the respective countries. So these are the broadly the sustainability frameworks we use. And when it comes to, say, chemical management, it is zero discharge of hazardous chemical, JDSC frameworks are widely used. And for compliance, the HIG FEM, the HIG FEM model is basically used by Cascal, the company called, the organization called Cascal. And earlier it was called SSC, Sustainable Apparel Coalition. Now it is renamed as Cascal. I think broadly these are the frameworks used in any big brands in apparel and footwear sector. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you. And sir, following up to that question, if I may, Harsha.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, for the life cycle analysis, sir, which tool do you prefer? Like, or do you prefer? I know it's manually, it's quite exhaustive. So,
Yeah.
do you prefer any tool or something? If you can just tell us about that also.
Yeah, we used to do our life cycle assessment through Spera. They use Gabi software. We didn't use directly the Gavi software. So generally they do the LCA study and provide us the report. But now we have gone for a tool called PepTrust, so which provides much large scale LCA. You can do the large scale LCA for multiple products through PepTrust.
Right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kalpesh, for the question. We
Yeah.
have Prabha Kishore also. Prabha, would you like to switch on your camera? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, sir. It was nice hearing to you. I just had one question, considering the sports wear, considering basically the running shoes. So, mm, how are we ensuring that, a lot of all the brand websites I have researched on the running shoes, they have committed that it's get recycled and all. But when I have visited the stores, they are absolutely not aware of anything kind of, if I ask them, should I come and give you back my shoe which is being not in use, they say no, we don't know anything about it. In fact, one of the brand where I had visited in the shop, it was a return of a shoe of some damage. So they said no, we will just return, we don't know what happens to this. So how are
Yeah.
we ensuring that the recycle is really happening on the ground?
Yeah. Very, very good question. So if you see, yes, I agree. Most of the time, the awareness among the store people is low. For that, we are also looking at the training of those people. Time to time, we provide them training, but it's not enough. We need to have more such awareness programs for them. And if you see, recycling is not happened at that scale. Like if you see, in case of apparel, it is still easier, but like shoe recycling is much more complex. There is multiple components. There are rubber, there is
Yeah.
EVA, there is polyester. So a lot of components are there in the shoe. It is very difficult to disassemble them and completely recycle it. But what we focus more on the how much recyclable material we can use in the products. Like, but what will be the happen next? How much again will be recycled? That is still
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
challenge. The industry need to solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the question,
Thanks.
Prabha.
Yeah.
We have a last
Yeah.
question from Mithun Raj. So he's working in a foundry industry, and they are tracking all the environmental KPIs. So is it
Mhm.
mandatory to go for ZLD, ZWI, Green Co, Green Pro certifications, or ISO 14001 and GRI reporting in itself is fine?
Okay, lot of things. Again, it depends on. I think you are located in India itself, right? Yeah. So if you see in India, the things are not yet mandatory. Even if like for a European company, CSRD reporting is mandatory. It's a compliance requirement. But GRI reporting is not mandatory in India. It's still a voluntary thing. So a lot of things are still voluntary in India. Of course, when it comes to a foundry operation, you need to at least go for those EIA, the consent conditions that need to be mandatorily. But a lot of things you can do voluntarily to save energy. Like foundry is using a lot of energy, right? So if you can go for resource efficiency, if you are reporting, ultimately you are under pressure to perform better, right? That gives a more drive to go for energy efficient technology. Calculate your GHG emission, I can say that is very, very important. It's not very difficult to calculate your GHG emissions. At least the scope 1, scope 2 is not very difficult. Of course, the scope 3 is very complex, but you can start with limited scope 3, and scope 1 and scope 2 is really simple to calculate. So I think setting baseline, setting targets, and going for reporting is the way to look at it. And this system itself drives a lot of action on the ground. And yeah, that will be really helpful if you can. Don't look at what is mandatory and only do the same things, but look for what really can help the business. That's why the challenge of integrating and sustainability into the business is really important.
Yeah. Although I thank you for the answer, sir. I hope Mithun, it's you've got your answers. Although I said that it was the last question, I have one more question from Mr. Manohar Sivara. Would you like to please switch on your
Sure,
camera
sure.
and ask? I know
Uh,
I'm taking a little bit
no,
long.
I'm not been a question too.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'll
if you
ask
can,
it.
you can
So
carry on.
his question is, what is your take on economics of sustainability in your industry, or if I may say, manufacturing of apparels and footwear industry? What is your take on economics of sustainability?
Yeah, it's a great question. I can give the real example, real life example actually. So you see, we are discussing everything, but we see the geopolitical situation going on right now, right? And we have this macroeconomic uncertainties. The suppliers and brands are under pressure. There is issues with raw material supply. So when this kind of situation comes, sustainability takes a backseat, of course. That is the reality. But when we say overall economics of sustainability is really makes sense. Like when we're supporting suppliers to achieve energy efficiency, GHG reduction. So definitely there is a cost saving associated with that. So we look at those cost benefit analysis of those initiatives. So we drive the programs for suppliers, the resource improvement programs. Ultimately, they have to get convinced to make investment only there is a return on investment, right? So that is the business aspects of it. But when it comes to say circularity, still the recycled materials are more expensive than the virgin materials.
Yeah.
The recycled polyester is close to carbon neutral, but it's not 100%, sorry, the cost neutral. It is not 100% cost neutral. But like if you say recycled cotton, recycled leather up to a certain extent, all are more expensive than the virgin raw materials. So the idea is to create scale. Once the scale is created, these materials will be cost neutral. That's what happened with the polyester. So the recycled polyester is almost close to the cost of virgin polyester.
I hope that answers your question, Manohar. Thank you so very much, Archak, for joining us for this evening. And any final message that you would like to share with all our audience who are watching this live or who would watch it recorded?
No, it's really a pleasure to talk to you and talk to all the people who have joined across the world. I would say that yeah, we need to be passionate about sustainability. It's a challenging field, uh, but we have the solutions as well. And things are improving. Things are uh, like the technology is improving. There are innovations, and people are working on it. Though there are setbacks, we don't have to be get distracted by those setbacks. Yes, we can see the war is happening. Trump has withdrawn from Paris Agreement. These are temporary setbacks, but overall, if we have to survive, we have to become resilient. We have to become responsible. Then we need to work on those areas, and only sustainability professionals cannot achieve it. It need to have collaboration between all the people, all the departments like finance, sales, marketing, design, the sourcing. Everybody has to work together to achieve this common goal. That's what I would say.
Great. So, having a multi-stakeholder collaboration is what is a key way forward, if I may say. And
Right.
yes, deep prayers to all the people affected in the war zone
Mm.
from our entire community. And
Yeah.
thank you so very much, Arshak sir, for joining us. We would definitely get in touch with you for project site visits and maybe guest lectures and would be lovely to have you with us. Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for joining and giving this session such a good response and for all your questions that you've asked.